Hello everyone and welcome to Prima's March Color Madness. I'm Miranda Edney and I'm going to be sharing with you a project using the Color Bloom 2 sprays. And I'm using three of my favorite ones. They are the Dragonfly Blue, Golden Walnut, and Magic Stone. So I have a wooden block here. It's not a canvas. It was a project gone wrong, so I am just covering it up with the heavy white gesso. And what I have here is a pile of leftover die cut pieces from my Prima dies from past projects. I keep lots of little bins on my desk, and all those little bits and bobs that you use throughout projects, anything left over, I kind of just throw over there, all my scraps and everything. So that's what I'm using here, and I am using gesso to adhere them down, and you may think that's crazy, but that's what was on my desk, and they were going to get gessoed over anyway, so I just went ahead and used the heavy gesso as my adhesive as well, and it holds very well. So I'm adding all of those little tidbits. Some of them are cut from book pages, other from different paper lines. I think there's some sweet peppermint and some rosy bell and just different things. And they're all going to get gessoed, like I said, so the color is not very important. So I'm just going to go all the way around and add those. And this creates so much wonderful texture for your background, and those Color Bloom sprays will look wonderful in the recessed areas. It's just a really cool background technique. So I've got some of the Prima paintables there. Those are the tags, the Parisian type paintable tags, and they're so pretty. And again, I'm using gesso to adhere it down, and I'm putting that one on this side. I'm just kind of collaging. I'm making some interest in the background. Now, it's pretty much all going to get covered up, but that's pretty much how mixed media works. You're going to add and do a lot of background work, and, most of it does get covered up in the end, but the cool part is whatever is left showing through, this is adding interest to those areas. So I'm putting it on top of that bottle there so that it's a little bit closer to the camera for y'all to see. And I've just got lots of different pieces. Some are from Prima, some are just other ephemera pieces I had from other I'm not even sure what company. They're just tons of ephemera that I have in a little bin sitting by my desk. So I'm just adding all of those down. I cut some apart. And now I'm using the classic drywall tape. I know everyone uses this in their mixed media collaging, and it creates such cool texture. So it's not sticking very well for me here, so off camera I do have to go in and kind of like fix it. It wasn't sticking very, very well, but it's sticky as it is, as it comes off the roll, but that one has been in my stash for quite some time, so it's kind of been sitting there and losing its stickiness. So I'm using some gesso to help it to grab to the wood, help adhere it to the wood. And you can see there, instead of using my fingers, I'm using a paper towel because my fingers were quite sticky from, gesso. So there I got smart and I decided to use my planner glue stick. It's from the planner line, but it works amazing. I cannot say enough good things about these glue sticks. I really, really love them. So I'm using those to adhere down some extra die cuts. That's from those circle confetti die cuts, and I love the negatives that you get from those, and I think a lot of people have been using those, and they're great background pieces. So I'm just adding those in there again, just left over from projects. Now, I know a lot of us, when we have our doily dies from Prima, we cut them in half. Now, sometimes if there's a little leftover middle section, you get these little pieces like I'm adhering down now, and I don't even waste those. I keep all of those. I keep all of my scrap pieces. So here you'll see that that was too big for me, so I'm cutting, that apart, and I didn't want to waste that little pretty piece there. And it may seem like not much, but it creates really cool texture, and hopefully in the end, in the still photos, you'll be able to see the texture that does create. So don't throw away your pieces. Keep all your little scraps with some cool designs on them like that. So this is from the Rosy Bell collection, I do believe. So like I said, it really doesn't matter what color. We're going to do a wash of white gesso and glazing medium on top, so everything's going to be kind of tied in together. So again, I use that same gel, the not gel, but the glue pen from the Prima Planner collection. So I'm showing you there with it finished. Everything's dried. It's all done. There's no more stickiness going on, and that is our collaged background. So now I'm adding some heavy gesso from Prima with a little bit of glazing medium and some water. And it was much too big for that little palette trough I had put it in there, as you can see. So I end up just kind of like pushing it out onto my desk. My desk is a glass covered desk, so it's great for, you know, making messes, and it's very easy to clean up. So I'm just kind of using that as a mixing station for my little glazing medium. So the good thing about adding glazing medium is you're allowed to, you know, put a layer down, wipe some up. You can just really build up layers as dark or as opaque or as thin as you would like them to be. So here I'm just kind of going in with my first layer, and I'm going to use a paper towel to kind of wipe up whatever I don't like. So you can do this as many times as you want. I think I did it twice, just laying some down, dabbing it off, and then going on again. But you can go as dark or light as you want. And that glazing medium with a paper, using a baby wipe on top just to wipe off the excess, is really great for building up your layers there. So all of that texture from the collaging is showing through right now. So it's just really cool. It's a really cool background. So this is basically just prepping it for the color bloom sprays here. So now I'm going in with the white crackle. I love, love, love my white crackle medium from Bear in the Art Extravagance line. And I'm using her silicone brush there. It's kind of like a palette knife, if you will. And I'm just using, and I am covering up a lot of the background here. This is what I was talking about, how in mixed media you tend to cover up a lot, but that's the nature of the beast. And I'm just going across the whole thing randomly, not covering everything fully, just, you know, sporadically adding a little bit of that crackle medium. Well, not a little bit, a lot of it. Pay attention to your sides. You don't want to neglect the sides of your project. So I'm making sure I get those too. And just add until you're happy. You can take some away. It's all up to your own taste, what you prefer. So that is pretty much how thick mine is there. That's why I'm showing it up close. Okay, so that is dried, and you can see the beautiful texture created with those crackles. It is so pretty, and I was happy that more of the background showed through than I thought would. So it was a happy little surprise. So I've got a stamp set there from Bear, and this has got lots of butterflies. Bear loves her butterflies, and I'm using the new Color Philosophy inks. These are brand new to Prima, and I think there will be a segment of just these during March's Color Madness. But this is the potion one, and it's like a dark purpley blackish tone. It looks black there, but when you'll see that you can, you know, put water and use your water brush, and it's not really black. It's like a really beautiful purpley color. It's just so pretty. So I'm just using the water brush right on there without doing anything, and immediately after stamping, just using that to kind of add some extra details and some shadows, and it's really cool. And Carrie Fennell, she kind of taught me this technique with her cards and different things. And I'm sorry, you'll see that my hair and my head gets in the shot a little bit here when I am watercoloring this butterfly, and I'm sorry for that, but I was in the zone and I wasn't aware of where the camera was. So it's really cool to just use water immediately after stamping. And you'll see I kind of went out of the lines there, but that's okay because we're going to fussy cut it out. So it's not a big deal at all. So I know a lot of you aren't fans of fussy cutting. You can go around with your water brush if you're using something very thin like book paper and just wet around your image with the water brush and then just tear it off. I think Tiffany did that. Tiffany Solorio, I think she showed that technique, and it works very well. But I love fussy cutting, so that's what I'm doing here, just fussy cutting it off. And the paper looks a little weird there when it's wet, but once it dries, it looks great. Alright, so I'm going in with my color blooms finally. We've done all our background work, and I'm starting here in the very crackled area, and I do it on the sides very dark, and then I add water and just kind of let it run. I'm letting it get in all those cracks and kind of using my finger to help it spread. You can use a paintbrush if you don't like to get things on your finger, and I'm just going randomly. I had no thought process whatsoever. I just knew the colors that I wanted to use, and that was it. This is my favorite color by far, the Dragonfly Blue. It's just the best color ever in a spray form. It's beautiful. So that is it wet, and as it dried, as I was off camera and it was drying, I did add a little bit more. So you can see there I have some leftover spray, and I have a paintable tag there, and the whole thing has been covered with leftover bits of spray. So you can see there I just kind of use it to mop up any leftover spray. So I wanted to show you that even if you have some left on your craft mat or your desk, just, instead of using a paper towel and throwing it away, use something, an art journal page, whatever. Try not to let your product go to waste. So as it dried, it kind of spread out a little bit more, and that was completely fine with me. I'm going in with the golden walnut now, and I'm basically hitting all of the areas that are not blue. So I'm filling in all the areas that aren't blue. And my favorite section is up there in the top left corner where we did that confetti negative from the Circles confetti die, that negative piece from the die cut. It looks so cool with the color bloom spray on top. It really I love it. It's my favorite little part of the wooden block. I'm going to call it a canvas because that's, basically what it is. It's a wooden canvas. But I love that. So I'm using a heat gun to kind of speed it up. Which is kind of cheating, but hey, I'm impatient. So I'm adding a little bit more here and there. This is the magic stone, and it is not like a true black. It's just like a very dark grayish green, a little bit of green in there. It kind of matches these perfectly. It goes with the golden walnut and the blue perfectly. And I'm adding it there in the corner to create kind of a shadow, as you can see. So I didn't use anything besides color bloom. I was determined to do the whole canvas with just color bloom. You can create such cool effects just with color bloom. So I have an older color bloom spray there. That's the Frost color bloom. And it's very opaque, and I'm just dipping my paintbrush in and, tapping it on there, making splatters. And I do that a couple of times after I dry it. I think I do it off camera, but a couple of times of splattering it, and I just love that effect. It's very whimsical, and some are bigger, some are smaller. I know some people have different ways of doing that splattering technique, but I just kind of hit it with either my finger or another paintbrush. So now I am adding a little bit more of that color bloom, and you can see how opaque that is. Like, it's very opaque. And I'm going along the sides, and I am just kind of, not sure what the word is there. I'm just kind of scraping along the sides as if like I was using a palette knife, I guess I would say, and just letting that color bloom kind of run down, and it really ties in everything. And you can see there it kind of did mix with the other color blooms, and it got a little muted because these are, they do react together. So that's kind of what we were left with, and the background is completely done now and ready for embellishments, and I'm keeping it very simple. These are all items I had left over on my desk from another project, so I just kind of grabbed those. This is one of those clock pieces from Finnabair, and I sprayed it with the golden walnut after I went over it with gesso, so all that extra brown you see there is from the color bloom spray as well. And I'm using a paintbrush there. I'm using heavy body gel to adhere that down. I used to use like the 3D gloss gels and stuff, but Finn got me hooked on using the heavy body gel, and it really does work well. So anywhere there's like some seeping out, you can see I'm using the paintbrush there to kind of get any excess off. I don't want any showing when it's completely dry. This is one of those wood pieces from the new wood icon sets, and I don't know why I put it there, but I just did. There's no title to this piece, but I just thought it looked pretty. So the last step is adding my butterflies from the book paper, and I'm doing 2 layers on each size. I have one large, one medium, and one small, and I'm just doing 2 layers. The first one just goes down with regular glue, and then the second one I'm using a foam dot to add some more dimension to the second layer. It's kind of moving all around right now because the glue is still wet, but once it's dry, you can really fluff those wings up and curl them and not worry about it. And as you can see, I'm strategically placing the butterflies where it's not going to cover up my favorite pieces of the background. Like, you know, the top left corner there where the golden walnut is showing on that confetti die. Anywhere where there was my favorite spots and the background was really popping, I chose not to cover those up. So I'm just adding the butterflies as I see fit. No rhyme or reason to it, and that is pretty much it. That's all you're going to see me do. I do add some brads to the center of the two larger ones, and then on the bottom one you'll see me add some little adhesive pearls from the Sand and Crystals line, and I'll also add those to the wood icon. And I didn't show it on camera, but I went in afterwards and I used that magic stone, that same really dark grayish greenish color bloom spray, and I colored my little ampersand signed the little wooden alpha there with that color bloom, and it turned out really pretty. So hopefully the pictures will do more justice than the camera is doing right now. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you stay tuned to the blog and see all the inspiration coming your way for the whole month of March. They're going to be focusing on all kinds of our mediums and watercolors and the coloring book pages and everything. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Bye.